All right. Hey, everybody. We were just on a moment ago and our sound was bad. So we're coming back and I hope the sound is much better this time. So if you're here with us live, drop in the comments and let us know how it sounds. And for those listening or just joining in, I am Kate Dillon from Crate Insider and my co host today is Steve Hendren from Hendren Racing Engines, like always.
Right.
So, welcome to this happy Monday, and we're just gonna wait for some feedback. Our audio was,
Yeah.
oh, now it sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay.
Okay, gotcha. I was
Right.
all worried it was the mixer board, and I changed some
Yeah.
settings, and I am many things, but an audio engineer is
Stop
not one of
tinkering with
them.
shit.
Well, last week you complained that you couldn't hear out of your headphones,
Well, I couldn't.
so and then you knocked over the microphone stand.
Well, that was at the end of the night.
Yeah, you were like Mr. Destructo going through here like a tornado, just wrecking my stuff and
Right.
like tell me it didn't work. So I was like even came down here a few minutes early and like, okay, I'm gonna make sure the audio works out well. So but I guess it must have been the internet connection or when you're live
Something.
streaming, when you're live streaming, you can expect the
Oh,
unpredictable.
of course.
So yeah.
That's how
So
that
good.
shit works.
I'm glad we're good now. And if you're joining us live, feel free to drop in any questions you have into the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching from, and do that. We're here to answer questions.
Yep.
Speaking of YouTube, if you get a minute, jump on over to YouTube if you're not there already, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on the Crate Insider page. That would really help us out and help reach out more people. But also, I'm just going to call this Kate's Quest. Kate's Quest for a trophy.
Oh yeah. You want your damn YouTube
I
trophy
want, I
with
want, I really,
the
really.
subscriber
Well,
thing.
actually, it's just like my lifelong dream to win a trophy. I've actually won a lot of awards over the years, but none of them came with trophies. It was always certificates and or money. I
Right.
mean, there's money and certificates.
I'd
It's
like
like,
to win money.
yeah, I mean, money's good, but you spend the money and then
Yeah.
yeah, but you can look at a trophy for a long time and feel like you achieved something.
And then dust it off all the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole room. I'll never have a whole room full of them, but maybe just one, just one that I can earn myself. Well, with people's help. I need the viewers' help too. But it'd be a huge accomplishment, and we're a third of the way there. We've got 2,900 subscribers over on YouTube, and you need 10,000 for the
Yep.
YouTube trophy thing, and
Right.
that would I don't know. It'd be really cool. It would make me very happy. Very, it would.
Let's make Kate happy, please.
Yes. Well, and I'll do my best to try to bring good content and good products and everything to the
Right.
to the audience as well. So,
Yep.
and I don't want to gamify it or like I don't want to nothing cheating about it. I just like want legit subscribers.
Yep.
A lot of times they say you look at the views and how many people that watch your videos that are non-subscribers. And I'm the same way. And I think part of it is like with YouTube, I watch a lot of YouTube. YouTube is my primary like way
Right.
of watching anything. And I know that, if I watch one video from somebody, I may not be subscribed, but YouTube is still going to put their stuff in my feed.
Yep.
And so I may not even know that I'm not subscribed, So especially for our YouTube viewers, hey, just drop on over there and check out our channel and see if you're subscribed. And if you're not, hit the subscribe button.
Yes.
So Steve, how was your week from last week until this week?
Oh, last week was insane. Yeah. So yeah, it was. You know, um, I think I put 2 engines together on Monday and one each day after that. So it was pretty intense.
Well, go ahead and give us the parts update. How are we looking for parts for engine rebuilds?
Not freaking good, actually. There's still no 602 rings from GM. There's still no pistons anywhere that I can find. So for 604s. So yeah, it's basically a cluster.
So what about the availability of new engines, 602s, 604s, and 525s? What are we looking at there?
Yeah, those seem to be pretty much available right now, at least through my sources who I deal with. So yeah, I don't think that there's an issue there right now.
Well, I mean, that's a big problem
Yeah.
that's been solved then. Big problem.
But I think that's where all the parts in the system went to. was
Mhm.
to be able to produce these engines, because somebody at GM's epically failing as far as ordering parts
Yeah.
and staying ahead of the curve here.
Well, it was such a big problem. I feel like we got weird. I can hear sirens. Um, there was such a big problem with the whole just-in-time ordering. The idea of that you start a car on the assembly line and you may not have any windshields now because windshields aren't going in till Thursday. So, by the time windshields are going in,
Yeah.
you'll have them in hand. And it's just it was if you're running a precision operation, that's fine. You're not
Right.
dealing with storage, you're getting stuff just in time, you use it right away and so
Right.
on. Yeah, that broke.
Well, I mean, I've been having conversations with other engine builders, and it's going to come to a point where we're going to have to, some of these series are going to have to make a hard decision on what exactly they want to do. Because if I can't rebuild somebody's engine because those parts aren't available from GM, that means that person's not racing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you've got the manufacturers who actually produce the components for GM, and you can actually buy those as an aftermarket product. It might not be the exact same, for instance, like a 604 oil pan, produced by Champ Pans.
Mhm.
It's silver and it says Champ on the side rather than being black and saying GM, but it's the exact same pan. Um, that's a $250 product versus an $800 and something product from GM. So there's coming a point, and that's not something. I mean, pans are available, but I mean, we got to start thinking about the same thing with the pistons. For instance, like Molly or Mall, whatever you want to call them, they produce the pistons for GM. So it's going to come a point where you got the exact same piston, it's just a different piece.
It's just stamped differently at that point, right?
Differently at that point.
Because you're not proposing that we use any aftermarket parts, like
No.
just like open it up and just use whatever rings you want.
No,
And
I'm not saying that. Not by any means.
It's just these are the actual manufacturers of
Who
these
produce
particular
these parts for GM.
Right.
But somehow GM doesn't have them, but they're readily available. I don't know, through Summit or Jags or anywhere else. It's like,
boy, that makes it tough.
I mean, not as a GM product, but as a factory product from those companies.
Well, Chuck's got a great point here. Chuck chimed in and he says, crates around my neck of the woods are dying out in West Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
They're bringing back limited late models around here.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the risk if we want to, if we feel like racing with crate engines is a good and positive thing for the racing industry, then that the lack of availability of parts, it certainly has a negative impact on the longevity of this aspect of the sport.
Yeah, I see that lasting for a while. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, honestly, to look at the economy and the way it's going right now to realize we're actually in a recession, even though they're like, trying to say we're not, mostly because of the military industrial complex sending shit to Ukraine, which is what's keeping our gross domestic product up high enough to where it's not, we're not in a full on recession, and that's great and fine that they're doing that there. But what we're going to have to look at is at some point, it's going to go right back to crates again, because not everybody's going to be able to afford to run, more open motors.
Well, I mean, and
same thing happened after 2008. Sorry.
No, but I also think that just because a problem was solved in one way at one time, that the solution to that problem the second time around could be a little bit different. And what I mean by that is that we all have learned that you don't need to have a $30,000 engine in order to go racing.
Right.
So the crates were the solution to the overinflated engine prices.
Correct.
But now that the prices of crates have gone so far up, it really leaves room below it to potentially, or maybe this is a question: how much would it cost, or would there potentially be cost savings if a person was wanting to put together a spec engine that was very similar to a crate? Some of these, like, I don't mean limited, like where it's almost a super motor,
I see what you're saying.
but there's spec engine programs out there that are really can be a cost savings.
Yeah, I mean, it's been talked about before, years ago. I don't think it's something that I still think that the crate engine is the solution for weekly racers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've believed in that since it came out basically because not everybody's going to be able to afford to go race, a late model or a, modified or something like that with open motors. So,
Well, I mean, clearly I believe in it. I have a business called Crate Insider.
right.
So, I don't
No,
bring
but
I don't bring this up. A part of staying in business is trying to ward off competitive intrusion.
exactly.
And part of that competitive intrusion can happen when we take our eye off the ball, and then something else sneaks in behind us
Right.
and we're not paying attention. So I do feel as a business owner, I better know what the hell is going on to make sure
Yeah.
that my business is viable,
Right.
or, see what I need to do with it.
And what I'm getting at is there's going to have to be some hard decisions made by, like I said, a lot of racing series. That's going to be, hey, do we want race car drivers to be at the racetrack, or do we want to sitting at home because we can't get shit?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I really say hi to some folks here, and I see Darren is here. He says we sound good now, and I saw these comments. JD and Chuck all said we sounded good, so I'm so glad to hear that. And Doug is here over on YouTube saying hi, and Scott is here. He says hi and happy Monday from the Biden administration. Cleared the way for California's plan to phase out a wide range of diesel-powered trucks.
Isn't that just freaking brilliant?
Yeah.
Just amazing.
I feel like there's such a math. I'm just going to say the word math a whole bunch of times. It's just not doing the math. Okay, you want to have all electric? All right, where's the power going to come from?
Right.
You have rolling blackouts. They can barely keep the lights on in the first place. They want to go all electric, but they don't want to go nuke. So what are your options? If you don't do nuke, you've got hydro, which you're going to damage the fish. The fish then can't swim upstream.
Windmills, you kill all
okay,
the
well
birds.
That's going to power 12 of your homes in your 100-home neighborhood. I mean, and you guys, I'm not an engineer, but I did study. I was a lead accredited professional. I believe in doing some things in a more environmentally friendly way, in a mainstream environmentally friendly way. But this is a full on not seeing the forest for the trees situation.
Exactly.
It's just not going to solve the problem. I mean, I'm not here to make those decisions, but I guess it's like one of the phrases I do like to say is, in life there are multiple right answers. There are some that are clearly wrong, but there are multiple right answers. Yep. That goes into the clearly wrong pile as far as I'm concerned.
If they actually gave a shit about the environment, which none of them do. I mean, they pretend like they do. But if they actually gave a shit about it, then every vehicle in this country would be running on either ethanol, 100% ethanol, or methanol.
Possibly. I don't know why we don't use more methanol, but ethanol brings up another serious issue. And because most the ethanol in our country comes from corn. Well, and so
that's
corn.
Where methanol comes from too, by the way.
No, I thought methanol came.
And wood.
I was going to say wood is what I think of with methanol. It
can come from both.
But I'm not some expert on this, so if I'm wrong, feel free to drop in a comment. But what I have seen in some of those arguments about ethanol is that it's like taking food from the mouths of babies, kind of thing. Because if corn is grown in order for fuel, that it's diverting it from our food source. But I think another question we should ask ourselves. I grew up in Iowa. I was surrounded by corn. My grandpa farmed corn, so I'm not anti-farmer. Like, I don't want it to sound like that at all. But I'm not a big fan of all of the corn, like high fructose corn syrup in absolutely everything that you have. Kind of sucks, So
I'm gonna pour this below the camera.
Okay. There's another fuel, like if you're looking for a fuel source for, I don't know if it's methanol or ethanol, but switchgrass is another potential source for making a fuel. And that's basically a weed. Right. So anyway, I'd be interesting to hear from some of my Midwesterners and what their thoughts are about fuel and the use for corn and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I see Brandy says, check out hydrogen powered cars. It's so cool. Yeah. I think that sounds phenomenal. I think that's really exciting.
Too bad the oil companies own the patent on all that shit now.
Do they?
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, but you just can't escape the fact of thinking about what is the blimp that blew up.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Yeah, if anybody knows the name.
Hindenburg.
Yeah, there we go. It's like going to trivia when we come here on the show. It's the mind reading trivia.
Yeah.
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 Hopefully
What's my normal phrase every time I'm like stumped?
Oh wait, hang on. I don't know if it's been 5 minutes into the show yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has been.
Okay, go ahead.
Shit, fuck.
And
Because I'm like racking my brain.
And Matt's here. Matt Henderson. He's like, y'all miss me? Yeah, we loved having you here. Absolutely. You're welcome on the show anytime. And always, so really looking forward to Matt, while he was down here, shot some videos for Crate Insider. Really looking forward to getting those together, and we're gonna have some new product videos. So I'm really excited about that.
I'm curious to see the wheel video.
Yeah, me too. Me too, because it was a process. Yes, it was just a little sneak preview. We took this wheel, and when I say we, I mean I wasn't even in the room, but
Matt.
the collective we. But this wheel that was Alex's, where he hit the wall. I mean, one side of it is completely just crushed. It's junk. And took it apart, and Matt took a replacement part and put it back together. And so I'm very interested in seeing that. Yep. I think it's going to really remove the nobody's really talked about how you take apart these wheels and put them back together. Right. I've never seen a video on it anyway.
Well, it's just it's replacing an outer or an inner if it need be or whatever. But I mean, it's showing replacing the outer.
Yeah, but I still haven't seen a video on it, because I'm sure there are some tips and tricks and things like that. So in preparation for said video, I do have an order in with Kaiser's for a whole bunch of half wheels.
Right.
And plus we literally just got wheels in, and I'm out of polished beadlocks at this point.
Damn.
I know. I mean, this last order was
like a wheel selling machine.
We love selling wheels. I just love them. I just love them.
I bet your UPS guy does too.
We talked about it today. I said, given the choices between having my wheel boxes where it's like 2 wheels, so they're like 30-inch high boxes. So, but they only weigh they weigh like 30 pounds. I don't know. They're pretty easy to handle. And he's like, man, kind of complaining about this size. And I was like, hey, we just go ahead and sell a bunch of oil. I mean, that's another option for you. Right. At least these don't spill.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. We got a question here, and Zachary's here. He says, what's the cost to freshen a 604 now?
At my place, it averages like right at $3,300. Just because literally every month this year, we've got price increases from GM. So that's as of today. A month from now, it will probably be $3,350. I don't know, but yeah, right now it's on average $3,300.
Good to know.
And some change. I mean, it's like $3,315 or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think it comes down to a lot of times I look at things that I might want to buy, and hey, I don't know if is that $500 something, or is it a $5,000 something? And that's how I explain it to people. And
I'm going to be honest. We haven't gone up in labor prices in probably 5 years. So that's
you also don't
probably going to be an increase here very shortly.
Well, you kind of have to when your people. I mean, all three of you guys have experienced higher cost increases. It just in life, right?
Well, I mean, I'm not even talking about us. I'm just talking about business wise. I mean, the power bill's gone up, the water bill's gone up, everything's gone up, nothing's decreased. So, so labor is probably going to have to go up here very shortly.
Well, see, this is part of the.
What's up on your screen?
This is going to be our questions that are submitted. So, part of that is what they call wage inflation. Right. It's also, you need to kind of keep up with what the market is. When I'm getting postcards in the mail that I could go work at Trelleborg for $24 an hour, it's like for start.
Right.
And that's what we're competing with. It's like during post lockdown. I mean, you had the Sonic saying that they were going to pay you $17 an hour to work at the Sonic. And I'm like, man, why it makes it hard for somebody that wants to have a job with meaning and all of that when you can go make money somewhere else. It's tough. It's tough. And that's in our little town. Just imagine that at a much grander scale.
Well, I mean, you got to look, So my business actually, my mother's the owner. Me and my brother technically just work there, but essentially we run it. But you know, hell, we haven't given ourselves a raise in probably that 5 years at least. So
Yeah. Well, and you deserve one. I've given myself raises in the last couple of years,
yep.
mostly because I made like barely nothing.
Right.
I'm just like, no, I just want stuff on the shelves. I just want stuff on the shelves. I don't need to make money. It's
No,
fine.
it's just business. I mean, everything's gonna go up. Ain't nothing going down. Not until we at least get rid of the
Yeah.
jackasses in office right
Well,
now.
I mean, it's more than that though. It's like it's all of it.
Well, it's more than that, but it's making it even worse right now since you got all these people like getting off the petrodollar. So
That
dollar is gonna be a scary fucking thing coming up.
no. That is actually the biggest thing right there, because if we lose the standing as the world's currency,
Yeah,
then we become. Somebody asked the other
it's gonna be
day.
10 years of hell, is what it's gonna be until
Well,
somebody comes in and says, "Hey, this is how you fix it," which is stop buying shit from fucking China and start, yeah.
well,
I got a whole fucking rant about this, but I ain't gonna go on into it here.
no, but I mean, at the core, we have to care about winning, and I think our audience, we all care about winning. Otherwise, we wouldn't
Yep.
be in a competitive, competition is core
Oh,
to
absolutely.
who we are. I want to be the number one country, but I think a question to ask yourself, not you, but like especially the people that are kind of working against America, whether they believe it or not, where they understand it or not, is what would life be like if you were in the second best country in the
Right.
world? Well, and actually, you
Did
and
you
I,
watch? Did you
I
watch that
did. Clearly,
podcast?
I did.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna promote. I'm gonna promote a podcast.
Yeah. Sean
And
Ryan.
yeah, Sean Ryan. So it's actually, if you're on YouTube,
Hmm.
you can go to Vigilance Elite on YouTube, and it'll be the Sean Ryan Show. And I think if you're on Apple and everything else, it is the Sean Ryan Show.
Hmm.
Yeah, he just did an interview with a dude who's a CIA operative who actually worked with in the CIA, who Sean did,
Hmm.
and freaking intense, man. You got to listen to that shit. And actually, they dropped the next episode, which is all about China today.
I saw.
Yeah.
I saw it up in
Yeah.
my YouTube feed because I can tell you guys,
And
I watch a lot
yeah,
of that.
this is like no hold barred, kind of like me and Kate. I say fuck, Sean says fuck, the dude on there says fuck, all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nobody's sugarcoating nothing, is what I'm getting at. And it's freaking intense, and everybody needs to like listen to that podcast.
Well, and well informed. So it's not just the I hate blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
a
There's no conspiracy theory. This is facts.
well, and from people on the ground and seeing a
Yep.
bigger picture. A lot of times people get really kind of stuck in a
Yep.
tiny little bubble.
Yep.
Yeah, and I see a couple comments here. Brian says, MAGA. Anyway, I think that's unfortunate that MAGA has, when you say the mega group or whatever, has like bad connotations. What could be so negative about making America great again?
Well, I mean, if you're anything other than Democrat, there's nothing.
Well, I mean, making America great doesn't mean like it's almost said like that means bring back slavery and you're a bunch of white supremacists and
Wow.
like it's like come on, no, meet people where they are, understand what their motives and viewpoints are. You know what I want for people? I want to have where you can go to a job and you can feel or start a business and you can feel good about the work you do and that you can make enough money to buy a home that you can live where you want to live. And I don't think that's asking too much. I want you to be able, I want Americans to be able to go to the grocery store and buy food. I want them to not have to make change like choices like whether you're going to buy your insulin or eat for the day.
Right.
I don't want that. I want where we can have a
Oh yeah.
strong and secure, I want to support families.
Yeah.
I mean, even as someone who's never
Yeah,
had kids,
this is
all
like
that.
totally turned into a political episode all of a sudden.
It happens. It's just hard not to.
It's
hard not to.
It's hard not to when you're in an industry that goes against everything all the climate change assholes want. And
Shh, they might be listening.
Oh, they might be listening.
Yeah. No. But
Al Gore in my ass.
But still, I come from that, but yet, yes, there's some of those, but it's such a small drop in the bucket.
Right.
And the positives about strong families, I feel like that's a definite win in the win column for, it's all connected together.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, LBJ ruins strong families. So
Oh, Brian's
I
here.
won't go there completely.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. But and Sean's here. He says, "Hey, y'all from Team 12."
Yep. Hey, man.
And now we can bring this up. Brian is here in New York waiting for the spectacle tomorrow. Democrats
Demo
rule.
rats.
Yeah. Democrats rule the cesspool in New York City.
Yep.
I mean, come on. This is the dumbest thing.
Well,
The dumbest thing.
What needs to happen is that Soros-backed DA needs to go to fucking prison, honestly. So
Okay, I think that's taken it a little far, Steve. Why would that guy go to prison?
For his bullshit damn felony shit that he's trying to bring up. Because number one, well, I don't want to get into it.
Yeah,
because I can go on for fucking hours.
well,
On this whole thing,
I think you're going full on. I just think that it's just ridiculous. Makes me wonder what's actually really important and happening in the world. This is dumb.
Well, number one, he never responded to Congress, so that would be a great reason to get thrown in jail.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't realize that I thought they just like to hear themselves talk. That's pretty much what Congress does.
They actually,
Okay. And Brian says, "Yeah, true, Steve. Yeah." Yep. I try not to go too off the rails on the show.
No.
I have my moments. All right. So let's see. We got to do up a couple questions here.
Yeah.
And Flip says, "Do you recommend mufflers on the 604s?"
Well, I mean, if you don't have to run them, I wouldn't. A conventional muffler, because most conventional mufflers are extremely restrictive, which will actually cost you power. But if that anti-reversion muffler is, we call it a muffler, it's not a muffler, it has no sound deadening qualities. But if it is legal, then that would be a benefit.
And then back to rebuilds, Zachary is following up and he says, "What hard parts get changed when you freshen for that $3,300?"
All right. So it depends on whether it's the first time your engine's been freshened or not. So if you got an engine that's, just wore out because the rings are shot and everything else, we try to change the least amount of hard parts as possible because number one, for instance, on 604s, pistons are not available right now. There's not a piston in this country to put in your engine. So if it doesn't need pistons, then obviously we're not going to change pistons. Well, partly because we can't. But the most common hard part that gets changed is going to be intake valves because most guys are like overturning their engines and the valves are beat all to shit. So we'll obviously change those out if that's a scenario. If it's been well taken care of, then that's usually not the deal. Other than that, I mean, the crank gets magged, rods get magged, all that stuff to make sure nothing's cracked, nothing's broke. Blocks decked if it's never been gone through before. Obviously, the thing's honed with a torque plate, so it's you actually got round cylinders. As far as like hard parts, it's going to end up being, like I said, I mean, intake valves are probably the most common thing we change out. But
And is that included in that 3,300 or is that?
Well, no, that's all included. So
okay.
I'm talking all machine work, all the parts. But right now, for all the parts, if you need nothing, like if you don't need intake valves or you don't need anything other than just the parts to freshen one, which is, gasket set, rings, valve springs, all that stuff. You're basically looking at like, God, I think it's like all price. Bearings, obviously bearings. I mean, just everything to just freshen one up. It's about $857 right now.
Cost.
For all those components.
For your cost, right?
Customer cost.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm going to make money. I'm not in this business to lose money, so I'm going to make a few dollars off this shit. But
just a few.
You
making, don't mark up much.
You're making 20%. Okay. So we're not getting rich off doing this.
Yeah.
We got to do a volume to make money is what we got to do.
Yep. Charles is asking, has Alex got that hot rod ready yet?
Getting close. Yeah. Got it back. Obviously the front clips put on it. So that's good. When I left tonight, they were working on the front end, getting the rack where they wanted it and everything else, per his shot guy where he wanted everything placed. Cool.
Now we've got a few questions either from Facebook or email or, comments there. So I've got these for you, Steve.
Yep.
First one is, I am curious what you guys consider to be the most efficient alternator for a 602 dirt application. Any guidance is very much appreciated. And with that, yeah, let's start with that. What do you consider to be the most efficient alternator?
I mean, one that works. I mean, not trying to sound like an asshole, but yeah, one that works. KRC sells what is that? ProMaster?
PowerMaster.
PowerMaster. They sell that, and then Jones sells their own version that I don't know where CJ gets them done or whether he's doing it himself, but yeah, either one of those two is the two that I normally use.
Yeah, and the follow up on that is any particular amperage. I currently have an 50 amp mini alternator by PowerMaster in mind.
Well, then that'll work just fine.
Cool.
Honestly. Yeah.
All right, we've got another one here. We're going to talk about fans.
Oh, no.
Fans. Oh, what's the average horsepower gain with the Jones or the race fan on a 602? Right now, I have a 5-blade steel.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 horsepower.
All right. So I do everything at the rear tires. I mean, because I think it's a total waste of time doing anything on an engine dyno on a crate motor. But we can actually read real world numbers. So let's say, I don't know about that 5-blade is probably oh my God. Yeah, I have no idea.
It sounds like a boat anchor.
Yeah. But I can say like the GM 4-blade fan, if everybody remembers that from back in the day when that's what everybody ran.
Mm-hmm.
If you go from that GM 4-blade fan to no fan at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking 20 to 25 horsepower at the rear tires. Okay. If you go to a 2-blade fan of the same diameter, so 19 inch,
mm-hmm.
you're going to gain back, or you're going to lose 5 horsepower at the rear tires.
Mm-hmm.
You add a 3rd blade to it, it's around 7 or 8.
Well, you were talking about steel. Have you tested the?
I'm talking about the race fan.
Oh,
versus,
okay.
You know,
okay.
You can go with the 2-blade fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Same diameter. I'm just talking same diameter.
Right.
If you can reduce the diameter, that number comes down. So in other words, if you're on methanol or if you're on ethanol or a fuel like that, where it actually has cooling properties, can cool the motor, and you can reduce fan blade number and diameter, then that's just all that more power you can get at the rear tires.
So like a 2-blade 17, you've got a 2-blade 19 is going to be about 5 horsepower.
It's going to be a little bit better than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, you know, 1s, 2s, 3s, not the difference between winning and losing.
Right.
So it just depends on, you know, like that's the reason I like the race fan,
mm-hmm.
because I can tune our car, so my kid's car, to how much fan blade and how many fan blades we need to actually make the thing cool, depending on the time of year.
Yeah. Yeah. And doing that with losing the least amount of horsepower.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Because, you know, obviously we all know that, you know, with a crate motor, every bit counts. So
yeah, absolutely.
Within reason. I mean, honestly, 5 horsepower probably never won a race, but
well,
if you're looking at getting everything you possibly get, that matters.
You know, but I think it's also a sign of just an overall program. You know, because you can't dot the I's and cross the T's if you're still like just, you know, broad swaths of things that need to be done. You know, when you're that level of detail, it tells a lot about your program.
Well, what I will say, I mean, I'm talking horsepower numbers because that's what most people do. Most people are like, oh, how much horsepower for this and how much horsepower for that. I've said this before on here. I don't give 2 shits about horsepower. I'm looking at torque. So the more torque I can produce, the better off that engine's going to be, or better off your car is going to be. Because if I'm producing, let's say, I don't know, 20 more foot-pounds of torque than the guy next to me, that means I'm running 10 points less gear.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm running 10 points less gear, that means I'm going 5 to 10 miles an hour faster than the straightaway, you know? And that's not an accurate number. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. But it just gives you the general overall sense.
Correct.
Absolutely. And Mike is here. He says, hello, Mike from Pennsylvania, 70 degrees today.
Damn.
Wow. In Pennsylvania.
It was colder down here than it was up there for once.
Yeah. I think it was like 63 degrees today,
yeah.
You know, so we all look at, he's got his hoodie on. I have a sweatshirt.
I got my Race Logic.
Yep. Race logic. Of course, several people out there learning from race logic right now.
I forgot to do laundry this weekend, so I had to like haul ass home and change clothes real quick so
Oh.
I could come over here because I wore the
Just wonder what
same.
took you
I
so
wore
long.
the same pants and sweatshirt to work that I wore Friday.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Adulting.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I just forgot.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. I know I was doing it yesterday. I haven't folded any of it.
Yeah, well, I got shit to do tonight now.
Yep. There you go. You got a project. You had stuff going on this weekend, so
That's right.
so is what it is. Well, yeah. That's all we have for questions. So
Yeah.
I guess we can kind of wrap things up a few minutes early here. Otherwise, we're gonna drive. We're gonna end up diving off of the deep end.
More importantly, I'm gonna run out of beer.
Yeah, you're almost out of beer, so it is time.
And by the way, boycott Budweiser, please. Just saying. Look into that if nobody knows.
Yeah, that's just dumb. Yeah, and that's we're protecting everybody from like me going on a rant. Yeah, because I will. Wait, as soon as I turn this camera off. All right. Do you have any final words? Any last words, Steve?
No, I'm good.
All righty. Well, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for being part of the show. And do us a favor, jump over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. And you can also hit the bell if you want to be notified when we are going live, and that'll help you to get notified so you can be here live. But thank you all. Thanks so much. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys next Monday. Have a good one.